Good morning. This is Pastor Brian. Thank you for joining me as we read a chapter a day from the book of Hebrews today, chapter 12. I'll be reading from the Common English Bible as always, and feel free to follow along however you best like to do that. Chapter 12. So then, with endurance, let's also run the race that is laid out in front of us, since we have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us. Let us throw off any extra baggage, get rid of that sin that trips us up, and fix our eyes on Jesus, faith's pioneer and perfecter. He endured the cross, ignoring the shame, for the sake of the joy that was laid out in front of him, and sat down at the right side of God's throne. Think about the one who endured such opposition from sinners so that you won't be discouraged and you won't give up. In your struggle against sin, you haven't resisted yet to the point of shedding blood. And you have forgotten the encouragement that addresses you as sons and daughters. My child, don't make light of the Lord's discipline, or give up when you are corrected by him, because the Lord disciplines whomever he loves, and he punishes every son or daughter whom he accepts. Bear hardship for the sake of discipline. God is treating you like sons and daughters. What child isn't disciplined by his or her father? But if you don't experience discipline, which happens to all children, then you are illegitimate and not real sons and daughters. What's more, we had human parents who disciplined us and who respected them for it, and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to our Father of spirits and live? Our human parents disciplined us for a little while, as it seemed best to them, but God does it for our benefit so that we can share his holiness. No discipline is fun while it lasts, but it seems painful at the time. Later, however, it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness for those who have been trained by it. So strengthen your drooping hands and weak knees. Make straight paths for your feet, so that if any part is lame, it will be healed rather than injured more seriously. Pursue the goal of peace along with everyone, and holiness as well, because no one will see the Lord without it. Make sure that no one misses out on God's grace. Make sure that no root of bitterness grows up that might cause trouble and pollute many people. Make sure that no one becomes sexually immoral or ungodly like Esau. He sold his inheritance as the oldest son for one meal. You know that afterward, when he wanted to inherit the blessing, he was rejected because he couldn't find a way to change his heart and life, though he looked for it with tears. You haven't drawn near to something that can be touched. A burning fire, darkness, shadow, a whirlwind, a blast of a trumpet, and a sound of words that made the ones who heard it beg that they wouldn't be more word. They couldn't stand the command. If even a wild animal touches the mountain, it must be stoned. The sight was so frightening that Moses said, "I'm terrified and shaking." But you have drawn near to Mount Zion, the city of the living God, heavenly Jerusalem, to countless angels in a festival gathering, to the assembly of God's firstborn children who are registered in heaven, to God, the judge of all, to the spirits of the righteous who have been made perfect, to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks better than Abel's blood. See to it that you don't resist the one who is speaking. If the people didn't escape when they refused to listen to the one who warned them on earth, how will we escape if we reject the one who is warning from heaven? His voice shook the earth then, but now he has made a promise. Still once more I will shake not only earth, but heaven also. The words "still once more" reveal the removal of what is shaken, the things that are part of this creation, so that what isn't shaken will remain. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that can't be shaken, let's continue to express our gratitude. With this gratitude, let's serve in a way that is pleasing to God with respect and awe, because our God really is a consuming fire. That is the end of chapter 12. The beginning of chapter 12 is a very common, I think, and loved part of this book. One that has wonderful imagery of running a race with endurance. And not just running a race with endurance, but having such great a cloud of witnesses. And that cloud of witnesses is all of those by faith people that we talked about just yesterday in chapter 11. All of those people and more. Because the author said, I'd run out of time talking about all of these other people. And now, thousands of years later, we have even more witnesses watching us as we run this race with endurance. And the race is this life that we have. And this faith that carries us on. That is what gives us the endurance, is this faith that we have. And that we can look to. All of these witnesses that are standing, watching us, cheering us on as we run this race. And that even if there are times in which we are hurting in this race, that we work our best to run on flat ground. Verse 13 says, make the path straight for your feet, so that if any part is lame, it'll be healed rather than injured even more. So it's okay, I think, to take it easy at times. To just cruise along when you are struggling. To make things a little bit easier so that you can keep that endurance with you. And there's so much more in this chapter that we could talk about, and it's hard to pick and choose. But I love the very next verse after 13 of making the path straight. It says, pursue the goal of peace with everyone and holiness. The ways in which we can endure all of this is to seeking that peace, and the peace of God, not just worldly peace, but the peace of God with everyone, so that we can continue to endure the things that we endure in this world, so that we can endure until the end when we do draw near to Mount Zion, the heavenly Jerusalem, so that we can then see those promises one day, face to face, made complete. And that is what I got out of this chapter. So what did you get out of this chapter? What did you get out of it? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Write it down. Share it with a friend. Share it with us. And as always, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And God bless.